What's up, Gloucester Township? I am Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons, and you are watching the Restored GT podcast.
The number one podcast.
Number one podcast still
Yep.
in Gloucester Township. Man, we're at the end, almost at the end of August.
Yeah. I can't believe how time has flown.
I don't think I've done anything exciting so far this summer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I didn't. Got vacation coming up in September, so I'm looking forward to that. But,
Okay, good.
We are we're covering today. We're covering the August 14th.
Yeah, August 14th council meeting. We've spent about 2 weeks since we've seen you guys. Since then, we've had National Pickleball Day, which I know everyone in this town loves pickleball. We have a brand new pickleball court that's opened up.
Did we have national? Did we do a podcast since National Night Out either? I don't remember.
I don't recall, Joe.
No, we were there. Yeah, we were there.
We did not, actually, now that you're saying it, because in this council meeting here, Dan Hutchison
I know they talked
called
about
me
it.
out
Yeah.
for asked me who the champ is during the end of the thing, saying who's the champ, because I played him in cornhole and he called it horseshoes. So you're right, we haven't done National Night Out. That was I don't remember the night of that. August 2nd maybe, or something.
Where did you play that at?
What's that?
Where did you play that at?
Over at Y Oak. We were at Y Oak Park when the whole caravan, like the 22 cars of the current administration comes.
So was I.
You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, as soon as I got out, Dan ran over to me and was like, "Hey, come on, we're playing!" And he took me over and.
Do you know how bad I wanted to play?
Oh,
cornhole?
I didn't know. Yeah.
I did.
Wait, were you there when I was there? I was there. It was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was me. I know I was there. Jen O'Donnell and her daughter. Yeah, you and didn't yeah, we were all there together. Yeah,
There's the guy in the red shirt with my name on it.
You're right. Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. That's right. Okay. But yeah, so National Night Out was a couple weeks back, and you're right. We haven't covered that. How many locations they do that at? I think it was like 13 parks or something. I remember them saying that.
It's a lot more than I thought because I knew
the main ones, right?
I knew the one over in Blackwood, Y Oak, and then I knew Veterans
State
Park.
Street Park, I know, was the other one, and Veterans,
Yeah.
Veterans where they had the fireworks, right? I guess they must have
Yeah.
had it at the different parks. It's a pretty cool thing how they had different communities kind of put together their own National Night Out at their own park. Even though it's all within Gloucester Township, they kind of did their own thing. So the one that you and I went to, Sam Sweet, was the one that ran the National Night Out, who he took it over for someone else who, I'm not sure if they moved or what the case was, but somebody else was doing that one before and coordinating it.
Yeah, he used to do one in his own neighborhood, and then I guess just decided to do one over there. There were people from
Right.
I'm not exactly right next door to Y Oak, but there were people from my street over in Y Oak because we don't do anything on my street.
Right.
But it was a decent turnout. I think some of them were a lot emptier than people thought they were, but I don't know. It was a good time.
Yeah, the feedback that I got from a bunch of people that theirs were a lot less than previous years, and we talked about this part last podcast, was we didn't even know when this National Night Out started. Like, we're both kind of,
40
it's kind
years
of new
ago.
to us. 40 years ago?
Everybody's shirt had 40 years on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then one of the listeners caught up with me, I think, after the last podcast. He's like, this has been going on for like 40 years.
Yeah,
And I'm
well,
like, I didn't realize that until I saw the shirts.
Yeah. I wasn't aware myself either, so. But
No.
either way, it's a great thing. Different towns, I'm on a couple different towns' Facebook pages from whatever reason. And, man, there's some horror stories out there of people bitching about things and everything. I didn't see anything like that at any of ours. It was very nice. You did have to pay for some of them. Other towns, it was like, yeah, Chick-fil-A was free, or Mr. Softy was free, or, oh my God, we had to pay $8 for the lemonade guy, and it was the worst lemonade I've ever had in my life. And varying different stories of things. But overall, yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Looking forward to doing them the next year and
Years following, yeah.
I guess many years following that too.
But yeah, so after National pickleball night, or after National Pickleball, after National Night Out was National Pickleball Day, which was the 8th of August. And there was a bunch of people online talking about, hey, what's going on with these pickleball courts over at Hickstown Park? They've been locked, and you can't even get on them. And so, you know me, I'm curious. I'm like, I'm going to drive over there and go see. I don't believe anything until I see it. And I went over, and they were not locked. There was it was pretty interesting. I just so happened to catch Public Works there, trimming some trees, and oh my God. But it was actually the first time I've ever seen the courts themselves. So they had the little bridge that was part of the project, which was like a $32,000 bridge that we needed. So I'm thinking a $32,000 bridge. Oh my God, there must be some kind of canyon or something that's over there.
Yeah.
What could this be?
Bungee cording off of it and everything.
Right. There's a couple of rocks and like a board over it. And it's like, that's right. It's government bridge. Right. So that's 30. Yeah. Got it.
I tried to imagine a bridge too. When it came up, I tried to imagine a lot of things when this thing came up, because I'm like, all right, it's $500,000. What's it going to look like? And they said, look, it's not just pickleball. There's a bridge.
Right.
And there's a parking lot. We're expanding the parking lot.
Yeah.
So the bridge, you'll see. The parking lot, I don't think you're going to see the parking lot in the video.
No, and this clip here, there was a full video online. You could see it if you go to our Restore GT on YouTube, at Restore GT. Or no, it's actually Restore GloTwp. Sorry.
Yeah.
There is the full video on there. If you're watching us on here, just go into our videos. But where was I going with? Oh, yeah. So, but in this clip here is just a brief thing of the OSHA-approved work that our Public Works Department was doing, which I found ironic. I literally roll up, start putting the camera on, and what do I catch? I mean, it's not even you can't make this up. Like I didn't sit there for hours until they did something wrong. It was literally I just rolled up, started rolling the camera, and was like, I can't even believe what I'm seeing right here in front of me. But okay, I guess. So that's the clip. Here, let's play that clip. What is that? That's clip 1 here.
This is the bridge
Look at that
was
thing.
put in. I know this cost a fortune. I'd have to look it up, but it was a ridiculous amount of money to put this in here.
Man, that's
Which I'm not sure that it's actually needed, but
Look at the water pulled up before
guess
the
that's
river that they have going on there.
what somebody said needed to happen here. The Public Works is out trimming up some trees.
Now watch this when we go over there.
Let's go take a look at the courts themselves.
As I'm walking up here, I'm like looking to my left, and I'm like, wait, what? Hold on. Oh, yeah. There you go. Who's in front of a loader to...
I believe that is OSHA approved to stand in the bucket of a loader with a chainsaw.
Oh, here you go. There's the tax dollars at work. Gloucester Township. Well, it is open today. I know people had mentioned there's padlocks on it and you can't even get in, but today it's National Pickleball Day, August 8th, and it seems like the courts are open.
Yeah, so...
man. So
your tax dollars at work to pat themselves on the back.
yeah.
Great job, guys. You borrowed more money than we actually have and need.
when I had friends in town last year for my wedding, they came from all over the country. And they said, it's weird that you have signs up when they're paving roads that has to remind you where all your tax money's going.
Yeah.
Because they all know how ridiculous the taxes are in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, you actually have signs to let you know where your tax money's going. That's
Yeah.
like the
Like
dumbest
as if you
thing.
forgot.
Yeah.
Like,
When you're like, I don't know where all this tax money's going. And then you're reminded, New Jersey.
Hey, idiot! Right here
New Jersey has
for
roads.
your road.
Sorry, guy from Minnesota. I'm sorry you don't have roads.
Yeah.
But this is your tax dollars at work.
It's your roads. Trashed. Do you guys have a public works department? Do they pick up leaves in your town?
Yeah. Do you know our trash gets taken away?
Yeah, right. Oh man. But
Sorry,
anyway,
Cherry Hill. I know that doesn't happen for you guys.
yeah. So that was National Pickleball Day, August 8th, and I believe now they are calling it like the courts are a soft opening.
Yeah. So they're gonna do ribbon cutting.
Yeah, that
Big
a soft opening
presentation.
means we haven't gotten around to a picture ceremony yet.
Yeah.
You know, you guys can go use it. We've already borrowed the money. We've spent it, so go ahead and use it. It'll be open once we get our pictures taken in front of it and do a whole big ordeal, and then it'll be officially open.
Yeah.
But
So big
as
bridge
of right now,
big huge bridge,
right?
massive parking lot upgrade, 20 feet. It was actually like 20 feet. I was over there before they. Put
Well,
the
what
parking
they
lot
did
in.
was they removed what's it called, horseshoes and bocce ball courts to put those parking spaces in there, and I mean, in my opinion, they weren't really needed, but whatever. So it's like
No,
20.
there
It's
was-
nine. I think I counted 19 regular, normal parking spots, and then ADA. There was 4 parking spots for that. So, a couple parking spots. The courts and the bridge was, a little over $500,000.
That's a
And if you look over, there's literally brand new tennis courts that are like right over there that have the lines already for pickleball on them. All you need to do is just lower the net slightly, and you're good to go. But
$500
$500,000.
Home Depot bridge.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Anyway, so that was that. What else has happened this week? Anything else?
well, there was the secret meeting.
There was, yeah.
So I guess that was posted on like the Courier Post.
So yeah, there
there's
was
gonna be a
a little bit of scuttlebutt, I don't know what you call it, about this whole thing. That it was a public meeting. So for those that have watched this before, our entire town is an area in need of rehabilitation or redevelopment. I
Yes,
forget what it's called.
rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation.
Yep.
I always get this wording incorrect. But because of that, then council becomes the redevelopment entity, which then gives them the power to do a lot of different things. So they're never going to not be a area in need of rehabilitation. But when somebody is coming in to try to do something in town, they need to go to the redevelopment entity,
yes.
who is council, who then needs to then what do you call it? Submit something to the planning board or advise the planning board that, hey, this person is looking to do this. So there was a couple of things that were on the agenda for the rehabilitation or oh my God, redevelopment entity. I am a mush mouth. I always am, but especially tonight. Thank you, Joe. But yeah. So the Courier Post. It was published in the Courier Post that there was going to be a public meeting, but it wasn't on the township's website. Which you'd think, okay, well, if there was any kind of transparency, it would be on the township's website because not everybody subscribes to an online newspaper that nobody reads anymore. So why would that be? So questions were asked. So a resident asked, a news outlet asked, because I know he had texted me and said, hey, do you know anything about this? And when I told him, he's like, no. And he actually went down to the township building, and they told him, yeah, well, we didn't really feel like it needed to be advertised. We put it in the paper, and that's all we needed to do. We don't need to put it on our website. And my argument would be, well, if it's required to be in the newspaper in order to check the box that, hey, this has been advertised to the public, then hey, maybe you should put it on the damn website that you already own. Like, you own your own website, but you're going to pay to advertise it, but you don't want it to be.
The newspaper is a private entity. Like, you got to pay for that newspaper.
Right.
So if you're somebody that doesn't subscribe to that newspaper, you wouldn't know.
Right. So either one of the two things. You're paying for it to be advertised in the newspaper for no legitimate reason whatsoever because it wasn't important enough to put it on our own website, or it was required because it's a public meeting to put it onto into the Courier Post, and you're intentionally not putting it onto the township website. So it's one or the other. Which one is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no... So either way, they did not have it on there. Apparently, they did apologize. One of the residents said that they did say, yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're right. We did mess that up. We should have put it there. But either way, that's just how this town is. That's how Gloucester Township is. There is zero transparency in anything that we do. Hence a podcast about Gloucester Township. Like, why should we even need to have a podcast about how things work?
It's rare you're going to find a podcast that talks about municipal council meetings.
Right. I mean,
any other
are you kidding
township.
me? This is
Right.
so.
And it's not because we're bored.
Right, I have plenty of things that I should be doing besides this, but their lack of transparency drives me so insane that that's why we're here, and you the same, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so this council meeting, or not council meeting, this redevelopment entity meeting, Footy Rooty apparently was the applicant looking for a massage parlor to go into a certain area. Who apparently we have rules and regulations about how far away from residents and this, that, and the other. There's
there's regulations for massage therapy.
Yeah, apparently there's claims of, or their claim is that it's kind of an old ordinance, like one of those things like where, hey, women aren't allowed to go skydiving on Sundays or whatever So they're saying that it apparently was a nuisance to residents if there was a massage parlor nearby. So this isn't exactly a massage parlor, even though it's a foot massage place or I don't know what it was. Anyway, so that was one of the things that they brought up. There's also a liquor license that's nearby. That a massage parlor can't be within a certain distance, like there's 1,000 feet of where there's a closest liquor license. And the applicant was like, yeah, we couldn't find anything. And the council was like, what about the one that's like literally like right in the same parking lot that's right there? Like, oh, well, you didn't even notice that one.
That's a good Friday night right there.
Right? A foot massage and a
foot massage
and a beer? Yeah.
And a couple beers, yeah.
So in addition to that one, there was another applicant looking for a dispensary variance, I guess it was. So this has been kind of a hot topic, and there's a pretty big divide on like should they be allowed, should they not be allowed, kind of thing. Along with the whole, what do we call it? Area in need of rehabilitation. With that comes a lot of like, what the hell are they called? Redevelopment plans that are put into place and like overlays of like this area here to this area here is called the Blackwood Rest Redevelopment. Yeah. So there's certain things that are allowed in a redevelopment thing that the council has control over that have completely outside the realm of like zoning and things like that. So in this plan, marijuana dispensaries or grow facilities, or whatever they are, all have their own separate like, I don't know what that gets called. What they're allowed to do.
They did their own section of ordinances just for all those.
Right, for inside the boundaries, of that area there, that rehabilitation area.
And they basically did that because the state was going to set their own guidelines.
Right, if you don't
Gloucester
set
Township
one.
didn't. So,
right.
Yeah, Gloucester Township did it.
So this particular applicant came in, and the rules are that you needed to be, I believe it was within 200 feet of a residence and 1,000 feet to the property line of another marijuana facility.
Okay.
These are the outline, the parameters that we set, and everyone, I guess, approved or whatever on these marijuana dispensaries. Whether you're for them, against them, or not, that's what the rules are. This guy wants to come in and put the closest resident to him is 76 feet away instead of it being 200 feet away.
Oh.
So it was like literally right next door, and there's no way around, no matter where you measure from, whether you measure from the closest distance, the further, like he's not anywhere near 200 feet. So he's saying, come on, it's only 76 feet away. You're at 200. We're not that far off. And the argument is, if you set the rules, and then you allow
Right.
this here, your rules mean nothing because you've already set a precedence that now that somebody else is going to say, why can't I do that? You allowed it for there, and then what? You open yourself up to lawsuits and everything else. That
Yeah,
you're
then
saying,
the new standard is 76.
right, the new standard is 76, and they're like literally 76 feet away. Most people's property lines from curb to curb are about 76 feet. Like, it's not far away at all
Yeah.
from where you're at. And this
Where was this, you know?
So it was on the Black Horse Pike where, how do I describe it? There's Walgreens, Skeeters.
Oh, is this the one between the Wawa and
Like where they're building the new
between the Wawa and
Windy
the Hojo,
Village
isn't it?
run? Like, remember where I did that video
down
of
that
the hole that was in the ground, and
Yes.
then the mountain, Blackwood Mountain or whatever the hell it's called now, Ski Mountain. It's across there. There's like a place that's like a 22,000 square foot warehouse type of thing, and that's where it's going to be. It's like a CPAP place, I believe it is, upstairs, and then the downstairs or something is what he was going to rent. But either way, he says, I have the support of the house that's right there, and so if that person ever moves, somebody else would already know that it exists. But I don't think that's the point of it. The point of it is there's rules in place, and as somebody else had mentioned during the council meeting multiple times, coloring outside of the lines is not a good thing, right? And this would be coloring outside of the lines. Let's just stick to the lines right now. Like, we don't have any problem in place. There's a ton of places within Gloucester Township. The guy didn't purchase the building with this intent. He's just going to be a tenant in this place. There are other locations that do fit it. Let's move on. And that's kind of where the council left it. And I thought that was a good thing that they, kind of stuck to, like, hey, no, these are the rules. Let's table this. We're not approving anything right now. And kind of left it. They didn't tell them no, but it was pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, they're already under criticism, too, because we've gotten 11 approvals so far for these facilities. And, whether this is a topic where people are either for or against, whether you are for or against it, there is a certain spot where you don't want the entire township full of them. You don't want the entire township full of dollar stores either.
Well, we have that. We have that.
We've got
and
that.
Wawas and
people always make the argument too for liquor stores. Well, you wouldn't want the entire township full of liquor stores either.
Right.
But so it's it's the same. We've approved 11 so far. So and they've only built. Well, they haven't built any of them yet. There's none of them open yet.
Well, so while we're talking about this topic, it comes up later on, and maybe we can skip to that. But there's a process in New Jersey now that you need to take, and that process includes first identifying where you're looking to go. When you've identified a place that you'd like to open whether it's a retail facility, medical, a grow facility, or whatever, you have to get a letter of support from the township, which then is used in your application to the state to say, I have the support of Gloucester Township to do this. If we fast forward to to something else that we talked about in our in our what we had on the schedule to talk to you guys about that went over in a council meeting, those letters of support have come into question many times now, and it was originally explained to all the residents by our solicitor, who likes to speak in word salad most of the time. That we have that clip that we play.
Oh, yep.
And it was explained as basically, I know it's called a letter of support, but we don't really support that. It's just the part of the process that has to happen. And when questioned about it recently, like past the secret meeting that we're talking about and giving you the heads up about, the solicitor somewhat changed his tune, and it's worth going onto YouTube and listening to what he had to say. And he actually asked a couple of council members, like, are you sure you want me to say this out loud and answer this question? And it was kind of, nodding and saying, yeah, like, but the question was, whose responsibility is it? Is it the township's responsibility? Because from what everyone that's come in and has had a problem, whether it was the one that was next to the Wawa over by the Hojo, where that guy's saying, wait, what do you mean? We're here for the planning board meeting to say that this is a go, and you're now telling me that this fitness trail is considered a park, and I'm not allowed to. I literally purchased the land. I've done this. You've sent me a letter of support. The engineer is saying, no, you have the letter of support. I don't know what the hell they're doing up there. I don't know why they're stopping this whole meeting and going on. So the question was asked, like, whose responsibility is it? Is it the townships when you're issuing this letter of support that you told us doesn't matter, or is it the person who the applicant is? And our solicitor basically said, no, we're issuing the letter no matter what. We're not going to stop their ability to argue the case, which I, to a degree, understand, and they have that right. But they're also almost in that same breath putting all of the ownership on this person to look into what I believe should be their responsibility. Yeah. If you're coming to me and you're within 500 feet of another applicant, I should be telling you, hey, this has already been approved 500 feet away from you. It's 2,000 feet as the limit. Or in this guy's case, who got a letter of support, they should be able to say, hey, your property is within 76 feet of a resident. Our ordinance is this. And they're saying, well, we're telling them that, but they have the right to argue that. So it's a really weird situation where you have something called a letter of support being issued to you, but yet the township doesn't support it and is going to deny you, even though you've now just gone to the state.
Even though you've taken a big investment. Yeah.
Right. And that investment at the state level is pretty massive for most people. It's probably most people's yearly salary. I understand for that business, maybe it's a drop in the bucket, but it's still, it's, from my understanding, it's like $50,000 to apply, non-refundable.
I mean, if you're one of the big chains that's involved in this, sure, maybe $50,000 is not a whole lot. But if you're a small business owner, and we are consistently not friendly with small business owners,
absolutely,
it's a huge deal. And I know when I started my first kind of major small business, $50,000 would have sunk me if I couldn't have got it. It'd have been over with.
Right.
So it's a big deal, and I mean, I get the process. I get that it's kind of black and white. You fit into these parameters, and it's a yes or no. The only argument that still hangs out there is how many is enough, and that's what still needs to be determined. But that's a completely separate argument. But the black and white issue of, is it okay here? Yes, okay, send it on to the state. And now when they send it on to the state and it comes back and they go, maybe not. That's a huge deal.
Yeah. So I mean, we have clip 10 is a clip that we were going to play later on in the.
Yeah. The letters of support that are given to cannabis applicants, I believe that those, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that those letters of support basically say that the applicant's plan meets the ordinances and the regulations of the township. Do they not?
I don't know if it's that or necessarily the surrounding person is okay with it being there. Basically, that originated in the state of New Jersey required an applicant seeking a license, additional license at that stage from the state of New Jersey. They wanted to make sure that the ordinance, the local municipality which they want to open up in, approved cannabis. And so when we set our own criteria, because it wasn't any given by the state, as to what we would want from an applicant. So they were desirous of opening up a business. So our letter of support went to that person so that they could submit it to the state and say, GloTwp Township would permit a cannabis retail or agricultural, whatever they're doing in their town.
Not at the location there?
Yeah, I believe I read that it specified that they were eligible to build on the site that they were requesting. that fell within the township's ordinances specifically regarding marijuana facilities within that township?
Well, in working with the administration and the clerk, we required them to seek their zoning letter, that they had a permitted or additional use, whatever it was, and what the limitations and restrictions were. And that's things that they submitted that this particular applicant submitted also.
But what I'm asking is, aren't the letters of support that are given to applicants, aren't they given stating that that particular applicant's application meets the township's ordinances for medical or retail marijuana facilities? So you're essentially saying, yes, this applicant's okay to build in our township according to our ordinances, is what I understand from what I read a letter of support is saying.
Not necessarily, that's not the intent.
Is there some place where I can find the,
They're required to give us a location, the criteria, they had financial ability, that they were serious, not speculators, because the township didn't want someone that was speculating to get approvals and then market it. We wanted someone that was serious to come into town, whatever location. They disclosed where they were going, so we wanted to make sure you either had a lease agreement, take out the particular finance information we told them, or they owned the property. So we knew that they were serious about going forward, not just trying to speculate to get a license and then try to market it and sell it. And every applicant that came in,
What do they care? Someone tried to sell it.
One applicant that I recall, council denied that because they were too close to residential. They didn't meet that requirement.
so whose responsibility is it
For the
when an
7th
applicant
time.
comes in and wants a letter of support for a particular property? Whose responsibility is it to look at something that says, we already have an application in process for the property next door, or the property across the street, or the property behind them? Who does that?
Well, that's not the purpose of the letter of support. That's going to come into play because if there's two applicants that want to go in, it is out there now. Two applicants that want to go into the same location, they have to deal with the fact that there's restrictions and criteria. You can't be so many feet, 2,000 feet from your door to that.
Yeah, so is it the applicant's responsibility to find
For
out?
the 8th time.
When they make their application, then that's going to be something that probably gets their application denied.
But is it their responsibility to find that out? Okay.
When they contact myself or the clerk, we disclose that information. They can still make their request. We disclose it, but these are what we see are restrictions. But you can still make your request and go forward. That's stumbling blocks you're going to hit when you have to get your site plan approved.
I'm very disappointed. I'm getting word salad here, and I don't even have dressing on it.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. I can't even. You're supposed now you have to find out if a property anywhere near you is already in the process.
Right,
The
that's your
only way that you can
responsibility.
find out is to ask them, but they're not going to tell you when you first submit.
Right. Well,
For-
if you call me and ask me that specific question, I'll tell you.
So you go all the way through, spend all the money, go to the state, come back, and they go, man, by the way, there's already somebody right next door. And you go, why didn't you tell me? You didn't ask.
Right. That's basically what they're saying.
Oh my God, that is.
It was, and then for him to answer that question, it literally took her 9 times to get him to still not answer the question. She ran out of time.
Can we cover the point too, where his microphone's over here?
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's.
Yeah, that you have no idea. That took like probably a good 25 minutes to get the audio to be
I
to
know.
the point that you guys could actually hear what the hell he said. I have a picture I should show you. That's like his microphone. Literally, he takes it and he bends it around so it's facing the other direction. And then he sits back and
He sits
talks
back.
like this so you can barely
The
hear him.
microphone's pointed out that way.
Yeah,
It's and people
it's
have
absurd.
said during the meeting, can you talk into the microphone?
And he just looks at you like basically.
And they refuse to talk into the microphone.
Yeah, it's so sickening.
It's
It pisses me off.
I am pissed.
So bad. Like, I was literally sitting in a meeting and I was getting so hot. I took my camera and I took a picture of my daughter. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm steaming right now at his microphone just being bent around. It's such an FU to everybody that's sitting there in the entire township.
It's funny
that there
that
is absolutely zero respect for anyone that you can hear what he has to say.
It's crazy because you took a picture because I didn't know that you took the picture, and I'm trying to pull clips for this, and I'm pulling clips and I've got it through, and I can see Denise talking because there's a sound wave.
Right. It's literally you can't see anything on there.
I posted it. Restore GT Facebook. I posted this image of this, and it's like when Denise talks, it's loud, and then when Dan talks, it is little specks on this line.
Right. His is the same way.
Denise, and then you see Carly Mears a little bit, and it's like, God. Then Dina comes up here and blows me through the back of the room. It's like, but it's so frustrating because everybody has a microphone and they refuse to use the microphone.
I mean, not refuse, literally blatantly take it and turn it away so that you can't hear it. And in the beginning of the meeting, we should pull that where it's like, oh, this meeting is being recorded for audio and sound, so there's a clear and audible record. Clear and audible record? Are you effing kidding me? Like, have you ever tried to listen to anything that's said over there? Have you ever sat on this side of the dais and tried to even hear them in the same room that they're in?
It's ridiculous.
You can't hear anything.
I urge
it's intentional. It's intentional. Proof to me that it's not. That's all I can tell you.
Look up any other township in the area. Look up their council meetings. They're on video.
Everyone can be heard.
And they have great dialogue, and you can hear them all.
Not here.
Not here.
Nope. This is Gloucester Township. It's sickening.
So,
anyway,
hey, while you're at it,
subscribe.
We have good microphones. You can hear us. Subscribe to us. We'll tell you what they were whispering into the microphones.
Right. We'll sit there and do the work to dissect it and make you be able to hear it.
Yeah, RestoreGT.com for everything. Find our Facebook page, YouTube page. We're on Twitter. We're on Rumble. We're everywhere. We're out walking the streets, too.
Yeah.
The signs on the roads. We're everywhere.
Yep.
So, subscribe to us. What we got next?
We had a construction office. I guess it was a resolution. Like, they were talking about the lead paint before.
Oh, yeah.
So that became I guess they had a public hearing about that for this time here to make it a final, thing. So it was kind of in question is this lead paint ordinance where you need to go and have the township, I forget the price that they had. It was like a $175 fee or something like that to have the township come out and certify that your property does not have lead paint. It was kind of discussed that it was when there's a change of residence and things that this would need to be done. We were joking about it, like, well, what did they go back in time and find lead paint to go paint a house? Why do we need to do this every time there's a change of residence? We thought it was also for houses that were selling, but it was apparently only for rental properties. Yeah. And so it was questioned, is this rental properties are you talking about? Are you talking about every house that exchanges hands? And the wording does say for rental properties, but it doesn't say exclusively for rental properties. So there was some questions around that. You can play clip 2, which is a little bit of around this here.
I just want to make sure I understand this. This is only for rental properties. Am I correct?
Single family, 2-family, and multi-family dwellings.
Literally doesn't answer the question.
They're inspected. It's only buildings that were prior to 1979. You might have a lot of the multi-family apartment complexes that might be under the DCA regulations, anything 34 units. So they might have already had their lead-based paint inspections, and they're just required to provide certifications for that. So anything within the last 10 years that's been under DCA, New Jersey DCA control, they might have been inspected. Other units in a single family might not have been inspected. It was built prior to 1979.
But we're talking rental units, correct?
I think what this point is getting at is the first sentence says, municipalities are now required to inspect every single family, 2-family, and multiple dwelling rentals. So the question, does rentals apply to single, 2-family, as well as?
Correct. Yes, just a rentals. If you have a single family home that's being rented, then you have to do those.
Right, but the ordinance relates to rental properties only. Right. Okay, thank you.
I mean, is it me, or could that question not have been simpler? Does this relate to rental properties only?
Yeah, you just grab that microphone.
That's a yes or no.
Pull it over and go.
Answer.
Yes, rental properties.
No.
Yeah.
It was single, multifamily, double. That's not what I asked. Oh my God, are you? I literally asked, does this? Oh my! I get so heated with responses from attorneys. I'm sorry if you're an attorney out there, but I cannot stand attorneys. It drives me nuts.
That's two of them. That's two of them responding right there.
Two attorneys responding, and you got no answer out of it.
Yeah, two attorneys that don't know how to use a microphone.
Anyway, so that was that was one piece of it. We did learn that apparently it is just for rental properties, so that is now in effect. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's just the process that you have to go through is what we're exposing here and saying, you've got to be kidding me. Really? You can't even answer a simple question.
And once your rental property is
it's certified, you're good.
And no matter what changes hands, but it doesn't have to happen again, right?
You might have to supply it, or like to if you have the document and somebody asks you for it, you can just go pull up and say, right. I don't think you have to pay for it every time. I don't think that was what the ordinance was about. However, it could be. I could be mistaken because no one explains anything around here ever. They're just like, oh yeah, that's how it is. You just pay every single year $175.
So we got a flood map guy coming in.
Yeah.
It's another Cardis type thing.
So this was, I believe, something that the state handed down saying you need to have this position or this.
It was a flood plan administrator, I think is what it was called.
Right, flood plan administrator. So we're not. This isn't a shore town or somewhere that has a lot of low, floodplain things. But they are out there. There are things that would qualify for it. So we need to have an administrator. The question was asked because council's being asked to pass this resolution here. Is this a paid position? Do we need to hire somebody for this? And literally the answer back was, I don't know. Is it?
Nobody knows.
Like, how are you so hold on. You're passing that you're going to have this position, but you don't know if it's a paid position? And they're like, well, no. Actually, what we're doing, we're going to put this responsibility onto the construction department guy. And then it became...
That's right.
Really? So in this construction department guy's responsibility, it says he needs to go to the construction department to get approval for this, that, or the other. And then it says if that's the case, then it needs to go to the flood plan administrator for it. Well, that's the same person. So where are the checks and balances kind of thing, and where is the whole thing? So we had the question here is clip 3 with somebody asking
about checks and balances.
I called today to try to get clarification on this ordinance regarding whether or not the designated floodplain administrator is a paid position. And the responses I got were, I don't know. Do you know if anybody received any clarity on this at some point during the day as to whether or not this position is a paid position?
Crickets.
I would think it comes down to construction code.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Mr. Crowley.
The construction code official, it's probably going to be doing the administration.
Well, under 131, it does specify.
If the construction code official is designated as the flood plain administrator.
So the question at this point is, does he get a boost in salary as a result of being designated?
Correct.
And that has not been put in the salary ordinance. So my position would be no.
So that's for sure no. It's an unpaid position.
Well, I think it could be revisited next year when we do the salary ordinance again, so we can make the case that the responsibilities from this ordinance justify an increase within the salary range. It's not before it's written. So
Okay,
there's been no conversation about that.
so essentially tonight you're approving an ordinance that you don't know whether or not at some point in the future
Here it
it's going to
comes.
cost the taxpayers money as far as an additional salary regarding administering this ordinance.
Well, those are your words. My words are this, Elise. Right now, we're gonna pass an ordinance that puts responsibilities on an individual who's currently working for the town. He has not asked, that person has not asked for a salary increase as a result of these additional responsibilities. If he does, or that individual does make a request, we'll consider it. Those are my words.
Okay, the other questions I had regarding this was it says that the flood plan administrator will be the construction official. And then the duties, it says that this person who's designated is supposed to coordinate with the construction official, who is the person administering the program, correct? Am I reading that correctly?
You're reading 103.1.
103.44 duties. Establish in coordination with the construction office, written procedures for administering
1, 2, 3, 4, which one?
6, 7, and 8.
Okay, so, okay. You start which one, 103.16 or 103.46?
Yes.
Establish in coordination with the construction official written procedures for administering and documenting determinations of substantial improvement and substantial damage made pursuant to section 103.14 of these regulations. So you don't like the wording of 103.46.
Those are your words. I didn't say that. I'm saying, am I reading this correctly, that it's saying that the person who is the administrator of this program is supposed to coordinate with the construction official who is the administrator of the program? It's the same person, correct?
What it says.
Okay, so 3 of the duties are going to be done by the same person who's the construction official, who I believe is Jim Gallagher, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Jim's got a lot going on. He's going to be talking to himself quite a bit, asking himself for approval on different things.
Yep.
It's so yeah, checks and balances was the next question that came up.
Yeah. So if it's the same person doing the same thing, reporting to the same person, how does anybody check on the job that the same person is doing?
Yeah.
So where are the checks and balances? Because he's like me, myself, and I. Like, he's the one to review it. He's the one to submit it. He's the one to approve it. Or she. I mean, we don't, So where are the checks and balances?
It indicates that he has the ability to delegate performance of certain duties to other employees or to consultants. So I think the spirit of 103.46 is that if there is such a delegation of those duties, that individual has to go back to the construction code official.
He is a construction code
and work
official.
together. That's the way I'm interpreting it.
But he is the construction code official. So
Exactly.
therefore, is he going to be like, self, can I do this? And he'd be like, absolutely, great idea.
I just imagine this guy arguing with himself for days on end about something.
Man.
Man, I can't get past the audio in there and how awful the audio is because
All of those clips. You guys have no idea.
The audio is lifted, so it sounds weird
Yeah.
because everybody refuses to speak into the microphone,
It's
except the people that are residents that know how to use a microphone.
yeah.
All those people that are residents that ask questions should be on council.
They should be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Denise Coyne has been in almost every clip that we've asked here. That woman,
Denise Coyne knows more about this township than anybody sitting up there.
yeah, it's nuts. So we had, I don't know what
Yeah, so it was, if you watch the entire council meeting, there was some really good dialogue back and forth. There was a lot of talk on many topics, and regardless of the horrible audio, because I didn't use microphones, it was great back and forth, and they even
not only did the residents recognize it, almost every person on council that night recognized it and said it as well out loud.
It was addressed at the end of the meeting, and let's show what people talked about with that.
Kudos to the dialogue on this ordinance. Dana, the words you said, fantastic, beautiful. So, good for you. And Denise, enjoyed the parsing of the language of the statute for the ordinance.
Both sides of the aisle. I think everybody was cohesive together, and that's the way Gloucester Township used to be. And I hope we get it back like that again.
I think the back and forth tonight and the give and take and the information was amazing. Have a great weekend.
Thank you all for coming out, for the comments tonight, the dialogue. I think it was fantastic. It's great. And the reason why I'm up here and not Council President Mercado, and I do have his blessing and consent to say this, is that he unfortunately had to have some emergency surgery done yesterday evening. So keep Mr. Mercado in your prayers.
So there's a difference there, and I think I don't know. Did they pray about this before in the last meeting that we'd have good dialogue? Because
they did.
It was certainly came up at the beginning of this meeting.
Yeah.
Almighty God, we thank you for the opportunity for us to come together here, for us to be able to speak our mind, but also to open our hearts to each other and the needs that are here.
Yeah. So they prayed.
They prayed that it would happen.
They prayed that it would happen.
It would bless everyone that is there.
And
so is everyone there?
No, our President Mercado was not there.
Oh, the tyrant that usually runs the meetings.
The one that usually runs the meetings
okay.
and prevents anybody from having good dialogue.
Right.
So
shuts down any free, any
imagine
free
though.
speech.
I mean, so imagine what it would be. All right, you get rid of him for sure, because
so he's up for election this year, right?
He is. You see what happens when he's not there.
Good dialogue can actually happen and take place.
But then maybe also get rid of some of the people that can't use microphones.
Oh.
And then imagine what great conversation it would be if people could just go in and they could ask questions and there'd be dialogue back and forth. And then the folks in the crowd would leave thinking, yeah, I'm satisfied with that conversation. I may not have agreed with the decision that they made.
But I actually had a conversation.
When
you can't have a conversation, that's horrible, right? Like you feel disenfranchised. You
don't want to be
pissed off.
You just don't want to be told no.
Right.
No, sorry.
The way things run now, though, is it's no. Shut up, sit down. We're better than you.
Well, you go up there with a heartfelt speech on a topic, and at the end of your speech, you get a thank you. That's it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's basically a big screw you, and and move on. Sit down, plebe. They're just...
So I mean, look, people can campaign all they want about this needs to change. You just saw what happens when a small portion of it changes.
One person missing from the meeting, and that's the reaction of their fellow members of the council that also recognize the same thing. They literally, you just heard them say it right out of their own mouths. This was a great meeting. It was wow. What are the different? Who's not there?
It makes you wonder.
Miss, what's her name? Casey and I don't even know what her name is because she can't remember our name, so I can remember her name.
That lady
and the council president weren't there, and somehow everybody had good dialogue. Nothing was shut down.
Yeah.
Free speech was allowed to happen.
I don't know.
Crazy.
You just saw an example of what happens. Maybe those people that we've been trashing for years. Maybe they're not bad people at this job. They're just not allowed to talk.
I don't think I've ever trashed them as people. I would say that the job that they're doing was
yeah, we don't know them as people.
Like that's happened at work before. Where people are like, "Are you saying I'm doing a bad job?" No, I'm saying you did a bad job, and that's why I'm having the conversation with you. I didn't call you a bad person. You did a bad job, and I'm allowed to say that to you. Just like they do a bad job. Meaning, don't stand up and speak up and say, hey, this, like, why can't we talk about this? Or why are we not talking about this? That's the good job that we want you all to do. Have dialogue with us. You just thanked everyone for having good dialogue. So do that. So that's where I come. I'm saying they're bad people.
No. And none of them, I can't say none of them. Mike Mignon seems like a great guy, right? Seems like a great guy. Seems to enjoy the dialogue back and forth. Different guy when he's up there, and he's president for the night.
Right.
I mean, it's a completely different atmosphere. Yeah. It's you know,
It's
a shame he's got to get voted out this year, but
it's a shame he's got. Is he on the ballot this year?
he is on the ballot this year, right?
Speaking of ballots, isn't there the fundraiser? You're running for council, right? Town council.
Yeah. I promise to have great dialogue.
Okay.
I look forward to being. Now you folks probably don't know this. There's a gentleman that he was elected to council in Washington Township. His brother is running for LD4, which is our district.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Del Borello is running for LD4, but his brother Pete Del Borello is a councilman in Washington Township. That guy does a post on Facebook or Nextdoor like every day, just letting you know what's going on. He did videos throughout his campaign. He does videos every day. Like he posted about, hey, you guys let us know about this fence that was broken. Here's the pictures. We took care of that fence for you. Like all the time. He's constantly updating. And I thought,
well, it's communication, right? That's the.
It's weird, right? It's weird because I'm thinking.
Because it's not normal around here.
Well, I'm thinking, so Gloucester Township, right? We're doing this podcast. What happens if I get elected? Can I do a podcast anymore? Or do I have to shut down?
Yeah, absolutely. You have a freedom of speech.
Do I have to hide myself now and never talk to people again? Or
no,
can I be Pete Del Borello?
I'm on school board. I'm allowed to talk and say whatever I want. Yeah, there's certain roles I can't speak about particular topics, but guess what? I have every right to speak, and just like you would have if you got elected.
Yeah.
You have every right to say anything that you want. There's certain things you can't say, but
it's a weird thing to think about. It's a weird thing to think about any one of those people on a podcast talking.
No, yeah.
I mean, I look forward to being different and doing this every 2 weeks and talking about myself.
Talk about myself. Okay.
No.
All right.
I mean, you can talk about like, hey, if we missed something, hey guys, sorry, we missed something. Get out here and talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's like taking ownership of things. Like, look, everyone's human. Everybody drops the ball on something, and if you mess up on something, just admit it. There's no admission of anything that could possibly ever be wrong of any of them. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, there's so much drives me nuts. Check out though that I really want to talk about this fundraiser.
Okay.
It is the Axes and Barrels fundraiser. It is at Chopper's Hatchet House in Cherry Hill. It's on August 31st. We're gonna do. It is a whiskey
tasting.
We're gonna have wine too. If you don't like whiskey, we're gonna do whiskey tasting with a bunch of different kinds of whiskeys. It's gonna be an open bar. We're gonna have axe throwing. You got cornhole there.
There's cornhole.
There's a pool table. It's gonna be. It's not like a fundraiser. It's not like a fundraiser where you go to and it's boring and people just talk and you eat dinner and then you go home. This is gonna be a fun night.
Yeah, there's a competition axe throwing. There's casual if you wanted to. There's food, raffles, prizes,
baskets,
all kinds of stuff to do.
Tons of stuff. And some, we got some feedback. Some people said, man, that's a big price tag. $150 a person, $250 a couple.
All inclusive. All foods included, alcohol, the entertainment, all the different tournaments and things that are going on. Everything's included. Oh, it's literally, when you go out and you don't know how much you're going to spend for the night. I don't know. I'm going out. And you get the bill and you're like, oh my God, I spent this much. You know ahead of time. That's it. That's all there is to spend. There's nothing else. It's
open bar, axe throwing, food.
Unless you need an Uber home. If you need an Uber home, that's additional. That's not included in the price. You're gonna have to pay for that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be a great night. I'd love to see people buy some more tickets so that we know, like, hey, is there gonna be 50 people? Is there gonna be 200 people?
Right.
Kind of want to make a great experience. Don't really want people showing up at the door the last minute and we're like, oh, we don't have enough stuff. So it'd be great to have people just show up. And
Can they scan those QR codes that are on there?
they can.
Or where do they go? What's your website?
You
Team GloTwp, right? Is that what your website is?
TeamGLOTWP.com.
Okay.
And it's the Axes and Barrel fundraiser that's on there. It's gonna be a good time.
Yep. So we got the whiskey tastings and all that is all included in it. So
I'd love to do a promo for our listeners too. So we should do that.
okay. After this, we'll record
post something coming up. So we do a promo and get some people in there that have followed us just to say thank you. And I'd love to hang out with those people more than anything.
Yep.
What's up next?
So after the whole checks and balances thing, they went into the eGov, which is where residents are able to submit questions to your government through a email to the system, and then they read them at the next council meeting. One of the questions was around the pickleball courts, which we already went over, asking, hey, they're locked, and they kind of went over and said, yeah, it's a soft opening until we can get out there and do a photo op for the mayor and our council, and then we can use it for our promos of how great we are running for council again. Next question was a question on, hey, why did you guys only pave half of the road in Glen Oaks? And they kind of went off about this whole thing, and the answer back was like, the mayor's looking into that. There's no real answer as to what that is, but apparently they kind of cheaped out on doing the road over there and got called out on it. There was another question around the MUA saying, hey, we asked you before this was dissolved that
Oh yeah.
what are the cost savings? Like, you say you hope for cost savings, but what kind of calculations have you guys come up with? So it was like, all right, well, now you've had months and months and it's already been where are we at? Like, what do the cost savings look like? And they just kind of say, we don't really know. We just hope for some more. We take it on a daily basis. I don't know what that means, but they take it on a daily basis. So yeah, they think that they're saving money, but they don't really know. There might be what was our new clip we had of what's it? Yes. How are we doing with savings? Are we saving? Like, yeah, I think we're saving money on there. Where are we at here?
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know if we're saving money or if we're not saving money. We could be losing money. We have no idea.
Yep.
All we know is that we took a ton of money from the MUA so that we didn't have to raise taxes in an election year. That's the only
thing that is certain is that taxes didn't get raised in an election year, and it's gone. It's now back in our budget. Another thing that was asked was we're redoing our master plan. That was I think it was last meeting that was brought up that we're redoing our master plan. It was kind of like it's kind of a big thing. Like, people have been talking about these warehouses for a while and stuff. And that all comes from what things are zoned as on your master plan and what the whole master plan of the township is and what the direction that they see different areas becoming. So if you live in a farm area here and now they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put warehouses right here. And you're like, hold on, that's part of, my neighbor's farm here. If they sell it, you mean to tell me I'm going to have this here? Or if you live in a residential neighborhood and you're like, oh wait, there's this. So the public should be involved with this process. It's not we don't live in China where they tell you what's going to happen. You have a right to talk and voice your opinion about what's happening there. But when they're redoing the master plan kind of behind closed doors, the questions come up like, do you have any plans to include the public? And they flat out said, no, we have no plans of including the public in this. What we're going to do is it's going to be advertised in the newspaper, just like we did that earlier meeting, basically, and you're going to have to deal with it. I mean, that's complete horse crap to me, but whatever.
Well, you've seen our org chart here.
Yeah.
We grab the residents and we throw them right off the top.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, our org chart.
You don't matter anymore.
So after that, there was a question of which housing. So there's a lot of housing that has been approved to be built, but has not been built yet. So people are always like, oh my God, they're building this over here. People don't realize how much is already approved to be built. It's just a matter of somebody saying, all right, hey, today we're going to take the shovel over to here and we're going to start breaking ground. Because it's already approved. There's nothing to fight at that point. You guys haven't made it out prior to it being approved. Now it's approved, and 10, 15 years later, they start digging the ground. There's nothing you can say. It's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
You guys weren't involved then. You can't have anything to say now. But with that, there were advertisements, I guess, of pilots that went out that were out there on the sides of the street. I think is what caused somebody to ask the question of which one of these residential units were approved for that, because I don't believe that that's an approved thing in the town. So here, let's play clip number 6.
Number 5, which housing developments have been awarded tax abatements or pilots for residential housing units, and who are the redevelopers? According to tax assessor Jim Grandremo, housing developments are not eligible for tax abatements or pilots.
Right. But see, this is the sign. I took a picture of it, I believe. So see, it says High Street Estates, 5-year pilot. So all the person, I believe, and I saw this too, this sign's here. It was a Ryan Holmes thing. It said 5-year tax pilot. I thought it was for in the town too. I didn't know where High Street Estates was, but those signs are in Gloucester Township advertising it. Here, when you look up what that is, it's actually in Glassboro. So the 5-year tax pilot doesn't actually apply here in Gloucester Township, but I believe, and if I could be mistaken because I'm just assuming on this person's question why they asked that could be what spurred them to ask that question. Because we shouldn't be giving tax breaks to homes that are coming in. We're already basically at, like, we have way more potential students in our schools than we already have. And when somebody gets a pilot, none of that money goes to the schools. It all goes to the administration, and there's nothing that goes to the school to help build the schools that we now need because of those pilots and abatements that happen.
I think I saw, if not that sign, a similar sign that said the same thing.
Right, the 5-year tax pilot. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody else saw it too.
Yeah. So after that, there was this was actually my question of Public Works here. So there was Public Works trucks over at Highland High School, and I know Public Works has nothing to do with schools. They have their own budget, their own contractors, and everything else. And somebody had sent me a message as they were driving by. I guess they saw Public Works out there. I also was driving by and saw Public Works out there with backhoes and trucks. And I'm like, what the hell? What is Public Works doing at the school? Now, who runs Public Works is, what's his name? Kevin Butcheroni, who also is on the Black Horse Pike Regional School. I think he's the president of the school board for Black Horse Pike Regional. And it just was like, wait, what? Why is Public Works on a Friday doing any work there?
Overtime.
Okay, so is everything Public Works has to do is done? They're good? Everything? There's no trash that needs to be picked up on Parks and Recreation. There's the pickleball. Hey, you don't need to take a loader over to Hickstown Park and get somebody with a chainsaw to climb up in a loader to knock trees down. You can wait till August 8th to do that. Okay. So I asked the question: what are they doing over there? So play number 7.
This one is from Keith Gibbons. Question, can you let people know why there were several Public Works trucks along with a crew of Public Works employees and supervisors working at Highland High School on Friday, July 28, 2023? And what was the backhoe digging up in the area that now has signs of a trench extending from the building onto the marquee sign? Tom would like to add
Yes,
to
so that was my understanding of that is that the Black Horse Pike Regional School Board approached the township so that we could utilize our workforce and our equipment to trench an electric line that would run from the building to they have a new marquee that they're installing. So it was a request again. We did it under a shared service.
So it did under a shared service. So did you hear what he's like? The Black Horse Pike Regional approached the Public Works. So that there is the exact scenario that was being questioned around the 3 different jobs all being the same person, and where's the transparency? So basically, the school board is the one asking Public Works. So the same guy that runs both of those was like, hey, Kevin, can you have Public Works come over there? And then he turns and goes, hey, sure, Kevin, let me check and see if the guys are available. I think they have everything in the township done. And that's the exact same scenario that we were trying to prevent in that whole, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they're questioning. And then his answer back literally was like almost verbatim what my question was. He goes, my understanding was they were digging a trench for a new marquee sign from the building all the way. You literally just repeated exactly what I asked what they were doing there, but okay, got it. And they said there's a shared service agreement though, but and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if you know this, but if you have a shared service agreement, that has to be a resolution that's been made, right? Through the township.
You would think, yeah.
It's not just a willy-nilly, like, yo, guys, can you come do this work over here? There has to be, like, literally a formal process of that, no?
Yeah, because it's not like it's free.
Right. I understand it's all taxpayer dollars, but they're two different budgets. They're two different...
Yeah, it's coming out of the municipal budget, and on a Friday, it's overtime.
Right. Oh, well, we believe. We don't know... There's no clear answer to that, but I'm going to start Oprah-ing their payroll stuff over there. But either way, they shouldn't be one and the same. And if there were, like a shared service agreement is like, hey, we're going to get with Washington Township, Cherry Hill, Runnymede, everywhere else, and we're all going to share trash services. And if we all band together and say we're all going to use Republic or whoever it is, this is the rate that we'll get. That's a shared services, right? So he says they under a shared services agreement. What agreement was that? I'd like to know what that one was.
Yeah.
Either way, it's just curious. You know what I mean?
I don't know. No checks and balances.
There's no checks and balances. And again, is everything done? That's Public Works had the ability to go do that. If everything was done, or if we had the ability to go do that job for the school district, then we have too many employees on staff, or they're not kept busy enough, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have anything able to be done if they're. I don't know. It's just. I don't know. Maybe I'm being an a-hole.
You see that? Well, you see that, and then you see parents taking pictures they're taking videos of their parks because they're like, these parks are garbage.
Yeah, like I know that
they're dangerous for our kids, but we got enough time.
Is that Public Works responsibility? Yeah. I think it is. They have Public Works, Park and Recreation Department, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Instead, let's go dig a hole for, save the school a couple bucks. Because I guess they don't get a bill for it. I don't know. Maybe there is a bill that happens for it. Either way, it's a, hey, can I do this? Yeah, sure. The same person.
Same guy.
Same person. It's a perfect example of what we were just asking about. After that, there was this was a long one. So Dina Hendry, her son went to the Junior Police Academy, which is an awesome program, and she expressed all of her gratitude towards that. We're not going to play the entire thing, but clip 8 is a little clip of that.
Dina Hendry Summerdale, I submitted an EGOV question, or actually really wasn't a question. It was a kind comment on Friday. Did you not receive it?
I did not. I was not handed that.
Ugh.
All right. Well, I'll read it. But if I start to cry, it's because it's super kind. I promise you. It says, good evening. I'm the type of person who values transparency, isn't hesitant to seek clarity, offer constructive suggestions, or possibly criticize the practices of this council for the township and the residents of that the council should impartially represent. Equally, I am quick to acknowledge and commend the exceptional efforts. The purpose of this EGOV submission is to formally express my deep appreciation and gratitude for the outstanding dedication and hard work exhibited by the instructors of the Gloucester Township Police in the roles of the Junior Police Academy camp. Our oldest son, Aiden, had the privilege of participating in this transformative experience over the span of 2 weeks. As a parent, my heart swelled with pride as I observed Aiden's growth and learning a journey unfold each day. Through this program, he internalized the concept of earning and maintaining leadership, an invaluable lesson for an 11-year-old.
So yeah, that was a good kudos to the police department, who they do a great job. And Chief Harkins was very thankful for her speech, and so was everybody else on council. It was one of those good, across the aisle. It's over. Things like this is this is what our town politics should be. It's just simple, things that have nothing to do with
We could
national.
yeah, we're pretty close. Like we
Right.
could be pretty close. We're not that far broken. There's
Right.
still some really good things about it that we just need a little bit of cleanup. But things like that are great. And like the Citizens Police Academy too.
Right.
It's another cool thing that I would love to do.
Right. If I had the time, I would do it. I have no time as it is, but some people we know have gone through it. We watched the ceremonies, and everyone looks like they had a great time at it. And then you hear stories from parents that have sent their kids to the junior one, and they're great programs. And this is the good things that the town does do. And this is the thing that I struggle with personally, is like there's a lot of great things that Gloucester Township is good for. It's all the things that are blatantly, obviously bad that piss me off. Like, when you go and ask, Public Works about, or Town Cardis about what happened with Public Works, and hey,
yeah,
what the hell's going on over at the school over there? And then what you get is,
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
Yeah, it's
just hanging around. One of those.
No, we
5
were just
different jobs I got right now.
Yeah, we're just hanging around, and that's the kind of stuff that just drives you nuts. That's a very common thing. It's not like it's a one-off thing. It's a very, very common thing that we struggle with.
We're close, man. A couple bad apples, and,
Right.
and we got this. You look at the chief. Everybody loves the chief. He's doing
Yeah.
good stuff over there. Get out a bunch of the bad apples that are poorly representing the township, and then you got people like the chief that you can are good people.
Yeah.
And we're not far off. We're not far off at all.
Right.
Speaking of good things too, we got Brian Burns and his Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs.
Yeah, so he brought the Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs. That was a program, and it used to exist in Gloucester Township. He was trying to bring it back into play. He's got some literature he handed out. I know I had spoken to him about it and said I would be on board with doing it. I don't think he's really getting much reaction from council after, I think this is the second or third time that he's asked for support in that. They don't really seem to be giving it much, but either way, there's other people in town that I'm sure that can help jump in on this. So if you guys have any interest in getting kids out there to like Dramsey Park over by the senior center, there is where I think they used to do it, but it's just basically a program that takes kids out, teaches them how to do fishing, and just but enjoy the outdoors. So it's a program he's looking to expand on. If you don't know how to get a hold of Brian, reach out to us and we can get you in touch with him.
Yeah, get us on Facebook, joe@restoredgt.com.
Yeah.
Or any platform. We can reach out to Brian and get you hooked up.
If you figure out how to reach out to us, it's easy. It's all over the place.
There's a lot of ways.
So then he also, the second part of it he brought up, and we'll kind of close out on this here, it was also brought up by him and another new person to council meetings. Somebody that doesn't typically come to them also showed up and kind of waited till the very end to kind of like get his feeding and see how things go and what people ask and how it was going. And he also asked about the Target warehouse over on, what's that road? I don't remember that road.
Williamstown Area Road.
Yeah. But so Brian asked, it's right currently, from what we understand, it's under litigation, so there's not much that they can legally say in this case. But this guy was also asking and Brian was asking. So I think this is like a two-part clip here, number 9.
The other thing I wanted to ask about, and I'm sure I know what the answer is going to be, it's under litigation. I believe council passed a resolution to hire an attorney to litigate the warehouse behind Target. Is that correct? So that's under litigation. And I know since it's under litigation, you can't talk about it. And I just want to remind council about the resolution that was adopted regarding the warehouse guidelines. And if you read through those guidelines, that location certainly doesn't fit those guidelines whatsoever. And I hope that the resolution of this thing is what the residents are hoping for.
Hi, my name is Christopher Mathis. I'm a resident of the estate of Lakeside. Actually, a question about the warehouse that he just commented on. And so I have a young family. a newborn on the way and a 1-year-old. And so I'm just curious on if it's passed, I guess, through the courts, like the warehouse, will there still be like a public hearing session? Like, what's the next steps after that?
So really can't say what parameters the court will put on that, in some discussions, I'm sure. But, you know, where stage that litigation is in. I would imagine if they're successful and submitted, whatever stage they were at the planning board or they were planning board, it might continue back for review. Planning board input on some of the restrictions.
Okay.
I think they would be.
Oh, and this is also under my understanding, just that they started with planning board, but they should have started with the redevelopment entity. Is that correct?
They came before the redevelopment.
Okay.
And memory serving the redevelopment on that project, the agreement was never signed.
Okay.
There were two of them. One was signed, one was not signed.
So since it's not signed, does it mean it still sits with the redevelopment entity?
They might have to come back to the, if that's the one that was not signed and they're successful going through, they would have to come to a redevelopment.
Okay.
It was already signed.
So still don't know what's going on with that one, really. I guess.
No, I mean, and if he said it wasn't signed, I think that was they lucked out on like something didn't have a signature on it, and they're like, "This we can use this to not get through." That's what I would imagine kind of happened with that whole thing.
Yeah, I think they took advantage of a situation there to possibly stop that warehouse, but
yeah, there was some Monday morning quarterbacking, or I don't know what that would be called, but they just did it after the fact. Like, hey, we need to get a resolution, but we had this one here, we had this one. Residents are pissed off about these warehouses. Let's get something in place. Well, getting that in place is done after the fact of the applicants happening and this, that, and the other thing. There was no proactive anything done with that, and they found something like, oh, look, this wasn't signed. We can use this as our argument to, to try to, to stop this here. No guarantees on it, but it's an argument we can make nonetheless. And I think that's kind of what they were at. And the whole reason that the person that's taking them to court over it had to do with their negligence, and they had zoning overlays that took place there where that all used to be zoned for warehouses. Yeah. And then what they did with like overlay zoning was to say, yeah, you could build a houses over there. You could build a development over there. And then the whole area became a development thing, not realizing like, holy crap, this is still zoned for a warehouse. So now this person came in and bought this plot of land for what it was zoned for. And now you're trying to try and stop them because you forgot to did all these overlays, zoning things and everything through their different plans. And that's what happens. It's one of those.
Well, I mean, you see what happens when residents get together and stop up and come out and enforce and say,
right, you can change
we don't
things.
want this. You can change things. It's so easy to change.
There's a million of how many? I've said this on this before. How many? There's 70,000 of us, and there's 10 of them. Right.
It's such a simple thing to make.
It is so simple.
People are so defeated here. It's crazy.
It's sad that they feel that way.
It's like a picture that was posted on the Restore GT earlier, where the guy's behind bars, and there's a loaf of bread and a key, and he's trying his hardest to reach that loaf of bread.
Right. And you're like, dude, if you got the key, you could just go get the loaf of bread.
You can get out of here and make it. You don't have to go.
And they're like, nope, I'm gonna get the loaf of bread. I know what that's gonna fill my stomach. That's what I know. I don't know freedom, so I'm not gonna enjoy freedom.
Yeah. First comment on there.
What?
Was that you could potentially upset potential voters.
Oh, God forbid. The ones that don't come out, or which ones?
It's their fault.
Right, that's how we're here.
It's their fault. It's not your fault. Look, you're watching this, you're probably voting. It's not your fault. Yeah. Maybe you can get some neighbors involved, but it's everybody else's fault that doesn't vote. It's not even the people's fault that do vote for them. And it's not the machine's fault either. The machine's doing what the machine does.
Yeah.
The machine isn't stopping you from voting. The machine is not stopping you from voting.
It's actually trying to get you to vote for it. So
yeah, the machine wants you to vote for it. But you don't have to. You just go vote for somebody else, and then boom, the machine goes away. Yeah. It's that simple.
You have more power.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that was pretty much it. We've gone over time, longer one than we have been typically doing.
Oh
but
man, the long podcast haters are gonna just grab.
Oh yeah, they're gonna kill us. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. We hope to see you guys at the August 31st Axes and Barrels. We'll put a link to that down in our description down below. What else is coming up, Joe? Anything I can think of off the top of my head? I can't think right now.
That's all I'm thinking about is Axes and Barrels. And man, if
All
you're
right.
on the list, if you are on the list of people for us to walk, my team has been out.
Yep,
we've been door knocking. We've been door knocking.
I'll
with,
see you out there walking
with the LD4 candidates.
Delbarello, Walker, and Esposito.
We've been out there walking with them. So, I
saw Chris last night at a All American Rejects concert over in
Delbarello?
in Philly. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was there with his family.
Walking's not my favorite thing, man, because it's sometimes some days it's just overly
negative.
crappy. Yeah, it's not negative. Sometimes you just get no response from people. They answer your door and then they shake their head and they close their door and then it's like okay, and then sometimes they slam the door on you, but it's not really. It's not generally. It's not a negative thing. I don't like bothering people at home. But
I don't like bothering them.
like
this isn't intrusive. If you wanted to watch this, you could watch it.
Exactly.
If I came to your house and was like with TV in your door or something, or like turn on a speaker, like you gotta watch this. Yeah. That's intrusive. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, I'm asking people, hey, you can come watch if you don't want to.
This time it is. It was different. I so against walking, man, and we knocked on doors.
So the temperature out there in Gloucester Township is like, we're done with this crap. We need a change. That's what your feeling is?
It wasn't even that. It was people just for some reason were like, hey, I appreciate you coming here. Thanks for coming here. It's good to meet some candidates. You know, I personally walked with Matt Walker, who's running for state assembly. It's a good dynamic because some people, when you knock on their doors, they want to talk about state issues. Other people want to talk about local issues. So people had questions about some local issues. I was able to talk to them about that. Matt was able to talk about state issues. Good. So we had one lady knocked on our door, and she's like, I got to show you something out back. She walked us through her whole house out of her backyard to show us an abandoned property that was out there. We're gonna do some research on, but we hung out in her backyard and we chatted with her and her husband's out walking out back and she's like, I got some politicians here. So we talked.
That's great.
We talked about all kinds of stuff and she
Listen,
stopped.
I got governors here to take us care of his house.
A couple folks they go, oh, okay, and then they pause and go, are you part of the group that's currently in there right now? And we go, no, we're new folks. And they go, oh, good, all right, good, yes, we got it. Yeah, we got to clean this up. It's time for some change.
Yeah,
and it was really positive, man. It's been really positive.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's you. So you gather the feeling of okay. There are people that are for them, but there's a good amount that are looking to make a change.
I know
I know I've talked to people that are just like, I'm dumb. I'm a Democrat. I voted Democrat every time. But these people are ridiculous at this point. We need to get rid of them. And there's been a big, what I feel, a motivational or a big motivation to change for whatever the reason is. There's multiple reasons, but I feel like it's there. Like
it is, and we targeted during the walking. We targeted basically. We didn't target Republicans. Of course, we're running on the Republican ticket.
You can't. There's 6. I think there's 6 of them in the town.
That's what you got to do. If you're gonna run against the big machine, you got to run against it on the Republican ticket. Yeah. So that's what we did. And so we didn't target Republicans. We kind of know they're coming out. We targeted independents. We targeted Democrats. So you would think not going to be a great. It could be a little sketchy going door to door. Great response. And
Awesome.
then the following nights, my teammates went out. I know Ray Henry, Tim Pfeffer were out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They set another great night of walking. So
Great.
really positive. I am. I look forward to chatting with some people. Man, if you want us to come to your house and just chat, hey, we'll come to your house. I'm gonna bring Keith.
He's got nothing to do.
Keith's the podcast celebrity. I'll bring him with me.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. And
we'll talk to you soon.
Sorry, we hit an hour and a half here, but we will talk to you shortly.
We'll see you at Axes and Barrels, August 31st.
Absolutely. If you need any information on how to get some tickets on that, reach out to me. It's on the website, but you can reach out to me. I'll help you get it.
TeamGloTwp.com.
Yep. See you, folks.